Recently, one of my past students shared his success story on GMAT Club. In that success story, he shared that he had hired a private tutor before he came to me, and then he got a very low score, and then he took some private tutoring sessions from me, and then got a reasonable score, and then he went to another private tutor to some more private tutoring sessions, and then he got his target score. In that entire long debrief, his story that he shared on GMAT Club, he didn't mention even a single sentence about me on a positive note. He didn't mention anything negative about me, but he didn't mention anything positive about me. He didn't mention anything positive or negative about the first one also. But he mentioned something very positive about the private tutor that he had after coming to me. So when I read the entire debrief, there was a sense of discomfort within me. I was feeling very uncomfortable, and perhaps that's the reason I scanned through the entire debrief twice or probably thrice to really see, to make sure that he hasn't mentioned anything positive about me. Because on our call, after he got his target score, we were in touch. So on our call, he was very positive about his experience with me, but in the story, he didn't mention anything positive about me, and I was quite uncomfortable after reading his story. And then I tried to understand why I was uncomfortable. So one reason I was uncomfortable was that, so there was nothing positive written about me. So people who would read this debrief would understand that, he took private tutoring from CJ, but there's nothing positive that he has to say about CJ. So the other people would also not like me. So when others don't like me, then that triggers lack of liking for myself. So because my acceptance of myself is contingent on whether others accept me. So one reason was that since others wouldn't like me, I wouldn't like myself, and that's not a good experience to have. And then the second one was that if people read it and they see that he didn't have a very good experience, or at least a very positive experience. He might have a neutral experience or a slightly positive experience with me, but he did not have a very positive experience with me, and that could of course make them go to somebody else and not come to me. So there was this fear of lack of success. There was this fear that I may not have as much success as I would have had without this debrief on GMAT Club. So this was essentially a fear of failure in some way. So as I tried to understand these thoughts, eventually I realized that if I could just release that negativity and choose to accept myself unconditionally, then this negativity disappeared. So it's easy to see that why the negativity would disappear if I accept myself unconditionally. For the first reason, because the first reason was that if others don't like me, I'll not like myself. So I'm essentially saying that I'm going to like myself irrespective of whether others like me or not. So that's unconditional acceptance. It's easy to see that why unconditional acceptance would neutralize that first reason. But what about the second reason, that is not mentioning anything positive about me would lead to a lack of success? So then as I thought about it, I realized that what if it leads to lack of success, or what if it leads to some kind of failure? Even in that case, if I accept myself, I could see that there was that release of negativity. So essentially, as I accepted myself, despite that potential of failure, I sensed a sense of relief, a peace, a sense of positivity within me. So I wondered what self-acceptance has to do with that fear of failure. Then as I thought about it, this thought came to me that essentially one big reason that I want to succeed is that I get accepted by others around me. Because success is one of the big reasons why we get social acceptance, right? Or why people around us accept us. They consider us successful. Oh, he has met the criteria, so he's worthy of our acceptance. So one big reason why we crave success is that success leads to social acceptance or acceptance from people around us. And why do we need acceptance of people around us? So that we can self-accept. The reason we need their acceptance is that if they accept us, if they accept me, then I think, okay, I'm worthy of acceptance and accept myself, and that's a very pleasant experience. So if I accept myself unconditionally, that I choose to accept myself irrespective of what others think of me, then this fear of failure also goes away to a big extent. Why? Because a very big reason why I so much crave for success is that success leads to social acceptance. But if I don't need social acceptance anymore, I accept myself wholeheartedly, unconditionally, then this big need to succeed also goes away. This big fear of failure also goes away. I may, of course, want to succeed for other reasons, and it's just a good experience to have. But that fear of failure essentially disappears to a big extent, at least. And another thing that I realized was that if I had not been working on my character in this way, I was not trying to grow my character, then that debrief could have triggered a lot of pain, could have triggered a lot of suffering. I could have gone into those negative thoughts, negative loop of thoughts, and so on and so forth. But that debrief led to some negativity, and then in a few minutes I just released that negativity. This is the term that I'm using. I released that negativity. I very consciously chose to just let go of that negativity. This was actually my inner experience, that I was just letting go. That okay, bye bye. A lot of people, what I see, or even what the same thing I used to do in the past, and even the same thing I do in the present also, with a lot of other things, that when I am being negative, then I distract myself. This is a common thing people do, that when they have a lot of negative thoughts going on, they just try to distract themselves. Essentially, there is suffering going within, so you don't want to face it, so you distract yourself. But I think that way suffering just gets stored within. It doesn't disappear. You're just not paying attention to it, but that is getting stored somewhere, because those are unresolved thoughts. In this case, when I choose to accept myself unconditionally, wholeheartedly, then I resolve those thoughts. I resolve that fear. I resolve that negativity. I just release that negativity from within. There was no negativity within. First of all, this happened very fast, within a few minutes. Secondly, I don't think I'm carrying remnants of that. Might be I'm carrying, I'm not aware, but it seems that I'm not carrying remnants of that negativity within. So, if I had not been doing this kind of work, then I think I would have suffered. Then I might have distracted myself. But still, the suffering could have gone on for a long period of time. And this is a big reason why I'm continuously sold out by this character building thing, because I can see that without this, even though I'll have a lot of comfort, I have a good amount of success, I have so many things in life, I can still suffer considerably if I had not been doing these things. So I keep seeing day after day this potential to suffer. I don't suffer as much because to some extent I've been doing this kind of work. But I can see, there is a lot of potential to suffer despite having a lot of comfort, despite having a lot of career success, a lot of this, that. There's still a lot of potential to suffer. So that's why I'm I consistently believe in this value that this character building delivers, that if I'm not working on my character, then even though I am a lot of positive things outside, I may still continue to suffer. Whereas if I have this character, I have this evolved character, I have this particular way of looking at things, then even if outside things are not very favorable, I can still have a very positive experience of life. So this particular situation was another reminder to me that keep going on. The direction is perhaps right.